shine in the reflection of the one love from which we were all created, namely, the love of God. To the extent that you're willing to embrace that goal, your relationships will transform, and they will do so in ways that may seem miraculous because they can't be explained or understood rationally. They transform not because of what you do, but because of what we are, love, and your remembrance of that truth. This is the path of A Course in Miracles. Author's Notes. This book is the second in a series titled The Principles of A Course in Miracles. In the first book, From Nevermind to Evermind, Transforming the Self to Embrace Miracles, I distilled down the most fundamental teachings of the Course and presented them in a straightforward, understandable, and hopefully enjoyable manner. Needless to say, you will get more out of the series if you read the books in order as they were intended. The Course uses many words associated with conventional Christianity, words like sin, salvation, Christ, and atonement. In the first book of this series, I chose not to use these words out of concern that some listeners unfamiliar with the Course might be put off by them. In this book, I will be using them. If you find yourself triggered as a result of old church and Sunday school associations, remember that the Course's terminology may indeed echo that of conventional Christianity, but only because it attempts to reinterpret it and make its words congruent with Jesus' powerful message of love. The Course was scribed during the 1960s, well before the need for gender-neutral pronouns was recognized. It uses the patriarchal form of language found in the Bible because its goal is to realign the teachings of Jesus with their original meaning, which has unfortunately been distorted throughout much of the Bible. Therefore, phrases like Son of God and your brothers occur frequently. Because this is a book about A Course in Miracles, I have chosen to follow its conventions with regard to patriarchal language and male-gendered pronouns, even though personally I disagree with them. I understand that some listeners may find this offensive. I cannot argue. I can only ask their tolerance and forgiveness. The one exception to this is my use of the phrase sisters and brothers wherever possible in place of the Course's brothers, except for quoted passages. If the Course were to speak to this issue, I suspect it would say something along these lines. Gender is an aspect of the world in which we live. It is a world of appearances, a world of duality, where differences abound and where opposites, like female and male, are possible. God has no gender. God is not male, female, or neuter. The binary notion of gender begins in the physical body, and from there extends to cultural attitudes about which roles and behaviors are male and which are female. Only recently have we begun to challenge these characterizations and realized that gender roles are far more fluid than previously thought. However, God is not a body. God has no body and no concrete physical existence. God is spirit. So are we. Our true nature cannot be defined by limiting constructs like gender. As we already noted, we are love and nothing else. From Loving One to One Love is a book about the principles of A Course in Miracles. The Course was received and scribed by two highly accomplished academic psychologists. Its teachings are so rooted in psychoanalytic theory that prior to Freud, it could not have been written. I have studied the Course and tried to put its ideas into practice since the age of 20. As a semi-retired psychiatrist with over 3 decades of clinical experience, however, I cannot simply ignore all I've learned over the years about couples and relationships. And so, in this book about relationships, I have drawn on my experience to introduce psychological concepts that buttress the Course's teachings, which I and many others have found helpful in making relationships more loving. Purists may object that these concepts are not part of the Course proper, and technically they would be correct. Nonetheless, I believe that such concepts are quite